My name is Danny Parra. I am an engineer and producer out here in Los Angeles, originally from Washington State, just up north here. And I've been out here for like 12 years.
Whoa.
Went out to college here and jumped right in. Started as a studio runner. I started learning more and more about engineering. I was working out of this studio called Rock Mafia in Santa Monica. That's where I came up, and I met a lot of artists over there and kind of my mentors over there, and was lucky enough to be able to kind of get into a system where I had access to a lot of great artists and songwriters, and was able to and continue to just collaborate with them, and from there have kind of just continued to meet new people and find the people that I work well with, making music every day.
You have a place that is incredible, really. It's very inspiring. I think that it's a good inspiration to live in a place where you can live and make music.
Well, this is actually
or just a studio.
This is a house that's being rented, Airbnb, by the neighborhood.
Okay.
We've been here since July, working on their next album, and we're gonna be here through the end of the year.
Okay.
To just work everything out. They wanted to get into a space that wasn't like a commercial studio where it had that feel to it. They just wanted a space where it felt comfortable.
Absolutely.
And there's one guy who's living here. They can play video games, they can chill outside, swim in the pool.
Live and be inspired. We really love the work of the neighborhood. We started listening to them really a lot of years ago when they with the weather, in Italy was a huge single, and then we started to listen to all their album and stuff. So very beautiful. How is to work with a band now? Because there's, I think, a lot of single artists, but how is to produce and work with a band? Actually?
It's actually a new experience for me, because in the past it's all been individual artists. And the way that I linked up with them is actually from working with Jesse on a lot of his solo stuff. So I started working with him like 4 years ago, I want to say. We met in the session, and then he, like a month later, he just hit me up like, hey, I really like working with you, like I would like to get together more. And he kind of had a lot of his own beats and like solo stuff that that was kind of brewing in his mind, which was before he put out his first solo project. And so at the beginning it was kind of, we would get together and I was doing a lot of just like vocal tracking for him and helping him kind of just develop all these crazy ideas that it was like an outlet for him that was different from the band, because it was more like rap beats a lot of times, or like collabs he was doing with other producers. And we just kind of kept recording and made a ton of songs that haven't come out, and built a relationship. And then eventually he asked me to work on this project with him, which is great, because I always wanted to. I always liked their music.
Absolutely. I think that working with bands or with the project that is more, I don't know how to define or to say it, but more complete in the sense of instruments, It's maybe something that is more, I don't know, maybe can stimulate you the most,
Well, and working with them is cool because, like, I came up DJing. I didn't come up playing instruments. I kind of started to learn that later on in my life, and I'm still learning that. I'm still like, like I can play some shit. I can play ideas and stuff, but in terms of being like a virtuoso musician, that's not me. I'm much more like, being a DJ, I love hip hop and I love like that approach to production. And so with these guys, since they're all great musicians, it's really nice to be able to kind of look at things from a more macro view. And be like, okay, I know there's something that could go here. I maybe don't know exactly what it is, but I know that Jeremy or Zach or any of the guys might know how to fill that space.
Beautiful.
So it's cool because again, like, engineering is my like core skill set. So I'm able to just like not use these guys, but utilize these guys to
like the human plug-in, you know.
Yeah.
So and that they can just move the hands also. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
They're such great players, and they have really good sense of tones.
Yeah.
You know,
beautiful.
if you hear them plug up through their pedal board, like they know exactly how to get the sounds that they're looking for.
Beautiful.
It's awesome.
How do you begin? You talking before about the Mafia Studio, and how do you begin? How do you know or that this could be something that you wanna do for the rest of your life, maybe?
Luckily for me, I just knew at a really young age, even before I knew anything about production or how to make music. I knew that I had an interest. I think when I was like 15, freshman year in college, I took my first sound engineering class, and that was learning about recording on like an ADAT machine, which even at that time was old technology, but that's what they taught us, and that's where I learned about my first sampling keyboard, where you could like record something in and it cuts up onto the keys. So I was very, very into that, and again with just DJing and loving music and sitting on Napster, downloading songs and burning. I would burn CDs and put like, this is when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old. I would burn mixes, and then I would write Parra Production Company 1. And I don't know, I had a desire to be involved with it. I just love music and always wanted to be involved in any way. Like even in high school, I took music theory, but I didn't play any instruments, so like applying it was kind of not necessarily practical. But I'm glad I did that because I got to meet the band teacher at the high school, and he knew that because I was into like scratching and like beat juggling, that type of DJing, and he really supported that and was like, yo, that's an instrument, like you should keep doing that. And then he let me play in the pep band in high school. So like at basketball games, it would be like full band, like horns and everything, and I'd be in there like scratching. Beautiful. And it was cool, and that was my first. And also at the same time, I had joined like a hard rock band called Euphoria for like a year or two in high school, and that was cool because I was kind of inspired by like Slipknot and like Incubus, how they utilize the DJ.
Incubus have the DJ on the set, you know.
DJ Kilmore.
Exactly. I love Incubus.
Yeah, me too.
I think that they're from California. There are a lot of songs that they says LA, so I imagine that they're
actually the Neighborhood recorded one of their albums at Morning View. Where they did
they did Morning View.
It's in Malibu.
Beautiful. I know. Beautiful. I think that Brandon Boyd is one of the most such
a good singer, dude.
It's very good singer. I think that he took one lesson of singing and is just and the guitarist too is very incredible. They are
he's great.
I really listened to them I don't know. It's impossible to know the years. I think 98 maybe. I was very, very a little boy, and I love Incubus, so I don't know why, but I think
they're great, and it's cool because their music is like straight. Even if you listen to it today, it's like a lot of it's hard rock, but
absolutely
it translates. It doesn't sound dated, and his voice is still like so amazing within that.
Absolutely,
music.
It's so fresh. I think that Stellar or song like I don't know, Dig, or maybe Pardon Me, something like that.
That scratch solo after the first chorus of Pardon Me was like, I need to learn that shit, dude. I need to learn how to do that.
It's very, very. I think that it's very modern, very fresh. Now I think that it's a band that always have as his perspective. I think and sounds really independent. I don't know if you use this term here in US. Something that is really, unique. I think that I love from US is that you have all these class in school, all these possibilities. You talking about you were 15 years old and you have this class, music class.
Mm-hmm.
In Italy, we don't have these things.
Mm.
Absolutely. So when we trying to be musician or producer, beat maker after that.
Mm-hmm.
When I have 15 years old, we only have band and rehearsal room and something like that, and scholastic support doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's something that is good here.
That's also what I went to college for.
Yeah. So you go to college and choose music.
Yeah, well, I went to Loyola Marymount University, and they had a recording arts program there.
Ah, okay, beautiful.
It's like really small. It's like 12 people per class.
Beautiful.
Like per the whole class, like graduating class, like each year.
Beautiful.
And so I learned a bit. It's like half and half film sound and doing music recording, and you choose an emphasis. But it was cool because I got to learn a little bit about doing film sound, and like I'm now able to take that mentality of like field recordings and sound effects and stuff, and like kind of applying that to music. Yeah,
it's something that in Italy is absolutely doesn't exist now. Maybe there's some class and something like that, but are not don't follow the scholastic graduate. You can graduate in music. You have the conservatorio, I don't know, but you need learn especially to play instrument, and nothing about the sound engineer that according to my point of view is something that is begin to be very huge and very requested. Well, there's like certain guys like 40 with Drake and like Ali with Kendrick Lamar, and like people are starting to realize that artists like to latch on to like certain people who they feel comfortable creating with, and who they like how they record and whatnot, and it's cool. And what is the thing that you think that is most important to trying to reach this level with these artists? And it's important to obviously to be a good professionist, okay, but you were talking about empathy. And what do you suggest according to this? You suggest to be, because I've worked with a lot of people, a lot of Italian musicians, and all the time there are people that just don't feel comfortable with, what do you think about this? You think that is important, or for you it's not important?
I think that's natural. I think that I've worked with a lot of people. Sometimes it doesn't click. Sometimes it does, and then I just try to latch onto those relationships that click, because making music shouldn't be stressful and hard. It's hard work, obviously, but I think that when you find those people that you're able to hang out with for 12 or more hours a day and communicate with transparently, and who you just feel comfortable with and have fun with, then
the music
it happens. It goes.
Absolutely.
It's like I've definitely worked with random people where I don't necessarily feel inspired, and I feel like I'm just like forcing some shit because we're together and we're supposed to be making music right now, and luckily at this point in my life now I have a handful of friends who I get to create with all the time, and I'm super grateful for that.
The team for you is important, so because
just the artist, when you find the right artist to work with, then it just makes your whole job easier. Absolutely. We in Italy or in Europe listen to a lot of music, of American music, and obviously we try to get inspired by American music. So the question is, where did you get inspired? Where did you find inspiration? You are American. You get inspired by the local music, or maybe from everything. Really everything. Like obviously a lot of American music, like I love Kanye West. Like for me, producer wise, it's like Kanye West, Mark Ronson, Pharrell, Dr. Dre, Timbaland, like guys like that. But I also have always been interested in music from everywhere. Definitely went through a phase where I was listening to a lot of like baile funk music from Brazil, and in high school I got into, you know, reggaeton, salsa, and merengue, and like all that stuff. And even when I was like listening to a lot of dance music, you know, there's Crookers, Justice, Daft Punk, like all the European guys, and you know, it's a lot to think about right now. It's a lot of music.
France and electronic music is something the French touch, you know.
Yeah,
they a lot of. I think that in France, people are very in love with music because they have this program. I talk with an artist in France, and they have this program that try to spread the French music in the world. So have institute of spread the music, you know. So in Italy we don't have these kind of things, so the music is more closed, you know. It's something that the language is the Italian language, and the people that sing in Italian, and it's hard to spread and to communicate with the rest of the world.
Sure.
And I think that most beautiful thing in US is that you have a language that is for everyone.
Global, yeah.
Yeah, global. So
it's also cool that now Latin music is so big in the U.S. And
absolutely.
I mean, maybe I feel it more because I'm in California, but I've always been into Spanish music where Spanish is the language, and even if it's not understood, it just has like a feel to it, and so it's cool that that's spreading, and also worldwide.
The reggaeton music, the Spanish music, all over the world, absolutely.
Yeah, J Balvin has like 48
everywhere.
Million listeners on Spotify.
It's so huge, In Italy we have this some artists that try to imitate J Balvin in Italian, and it's very horrible thing. I will give you the name. It's very, very something that is
right.
Like not beautiful.
Very clear knockoff.
No, it's not. It's not the. I think that when you try to imitate something that have another language and another history, you know, another provenience, something like that, it's all the time is something like mess, you know. But it's okay, you know. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Better to create.
It's okay.
Better to create something than to not, I guess.
Absolutely.
It was by imitation.
How is the music business here? What can you say about the music business? Something positive, something negative about the promotion, the artist, and all these kind of things.
I mean, luckily for me, the large majority of my focus is just making the music.
Okay.
So, you know, I have to deal with the business stuff in terms of like figuring out what my rate's gonna be, and like following up with people all the time to get paid. I would say that's like one negative thing that I can think of off jump, is just like you're always getting rushed, like, hey, we need this by yesterday. And you know, people are on you for that, and then when it's time to get paid, it's like, this has been like 3 months. Like, what's going on? But for the most part, for me, it's been a really good experience. I got lucky and landed with good people, and I'm surrounded by good people. So for the most part, I don't have anything like too bad to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of what's happened to me, I've yet to be fucked over so far. So.
And do you think that the system that promote music is fair? If you try to put together the underground music and maybe the pop music, it's fair, the purpose of music?
I would say that certain people have advantages, obviously, especially in Los Angeles, due to family connections and all that stuff. And like obviously, if you're in a system that has money behind you, you're gonna have some more opportunities. But with the internet, if you're creative enough and can put things out that catches people's ears and eyes, then everyone's got a shot.
Yeah,
you know?
sure. I perfectly agree. I think that there is these things in Italy. A lot of people think that if there are a lot of opportunity for rich people or people that have connection or something like that, but I think personally that if you do good stuff and give good music, everything's easy, you know.
Yeah,
and
but if it's like great, if it's great enough that like
exactly
you can make people latch on and you can at least get out to like that first tier, then people will spread the word.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. I think that create and trying to learn something that is new, something that listen to music and all these possibilities that today we have actually, and it's very easy to listen new music and discover new music. It's an opportunity, and if you are good enough and if you are great, everything will happen, I think.
And that's one thing that I always am doing, is just studying the people who I think are the best. And whether it's like listening to how the songs are mixed or how the songs are arranged, all that stuff is, I'm always trying to stay a student, because the level that I want to take it to is on the level of the people who have inspired me and who I think make the best music, whether it be Frank Ocean, again, like Kanye, like I want to do shit on that level, so I'm constantly just like striving to learn more. Looking back, but lately it's been a lot of Beatles, just like reading about their recording process and listening to their records. And it's interesting because, you know, it's a lot of this music that I listened to growing up but didn't necessarily have as mature of an ear to understand what they're doing. And it's exciting to me because now when I listen to these records, I'm like, oh, that's what they did, and I actually get it, so I'm able to apply it to all the records I'm working on now, which is really exciting to me because I feel like I get better just by sitting and listening to music, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm always listening.
Which is your part that you prefer of your work? I mean, I love when the album comes out, because there is that feeling with
of like,
you know, exactly. So okay, or maybe I hate the first part when I work with a new artist, or maybe with an artist that I work with for years, because every time it's like, and now what can we do now? You know, and I hate that part. But I really love the part of listening the music, where the first time where the music is, you know, done. Yeah, which is the part that you prefer?
I think for me it's the beginning and the end.
The beginning,
because the beginning is like that spark where you get excited and you know, like, especially obviously if you have something good, you're like, oh, this is like makes me feel a certain way. And then the middle part is like where you start doubting yourself. You're like, is this even good? Like, you might try some shit, make a new version, and be like, oh, whoops, I totally made the song worse. And, you know, I'm totally fine with like admitting that to myself and going back to an old version, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is it being great. So yeah, that middle part a lot of times can be a really an emotional roller coaster of like self-doubt, and then being like, oh wait, this is awesome. And then, but in that also you experiment and find things that are really magical. And I love that process of just like trying stuff and putting it in. If it's not good, fucking mute it, and not precious about it, you know? And then the end part obviously is great. It's great when people actually get to hear the music and react, and maybe you go to a show in another part of the country or of the world and you get to see people like singing the songs, and you're just like, wow, like this is actually in people's lives, or you hear it out at Starbucks or some shit, you know?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We don't have awesome. Starbucks, so I can...
You guys don't have Starbucks?
No, in Italy, in Turin.
Good for you.
I don't think that you ever listen something Italian trap song. I don't think so. No, but...
No. Are there some good ones?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's... For me, it's hard to judicate, because, you know, maybe you could judicate more accurately, you know, because we have listened a lot of American and Italian trap music, so I think that for the most are things that are very similar to American music.
Sure. It's like the same type of beat.
Exactly, very similar, but with Italian vocal.
Right.
So, you know, I prefer American trap music. I like it, but I'm not a fan, you know, of trap music. I prefer things that are more, I don't know,
like more bandy.
Yeah, also the more very various, you know, something like that. I prefer maybe, but I love trap music. I love.
Yeah, it all depends on your mood.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What do you think about the Kanye West album?
I love him being like the full expression of himself. So
Yeah,
I'm like
absolutely.
anything he does, I'm
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like awesome.
The man.
I specifically love the minimalism of the album, and I love the production and the sound of the gospel vocals.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because the vocals sound like there's so many, but they also sound extremely tight.
Yeah.
And as an engineer, it makes me think like,
How
did they sing it that tight, or did they like really masterfully align them? I mean, it's probably a combination of both.
Yeah.
I really would like to ask them. Yeah.
And you prefer to sound engineering or maybe work with music, or
Both.
for you both?
For me, it's both. Yeah.
And what the process? Want to know something about the process? Because I used to mix tracks while I'm producing, and after that I try to be more accurate with the mixing of my production. What do? You do in the same time, or maybe?
It's kind of both. Like, I try not to, at the beginning of a song or a record, I try to keep the flow going as much as possible and not get caught up on the nitty-gritty details of sound. And, you know, sometimes if me and whoever I'm working with hear something in a sound that, you know, would drastically change how the record feels, then we'll make that change, whether it be like an EQ thing or an effect thing. But I definitely like mix things as we're going, just so something's not just like so off that it throws us off of a groove. But then, you know, at the end, there's always like before shit comes out, you're always like, okay, I gotta make sure that we dial this in before like it goes to people's ears. So it's a combo.
It's a combo. Okay. If you could say to a young person that trying to begin this work, what do you would suggest to him?
Learn music.
Learn music.
Yeah. So learn whether it be guitar or keyboard. If you're young, I feel like just learn the music first, because at the end of the day, this stuff, as fun as it is and as much of a difference as it can make, what's most important is the song that you're making. And if the song at its core with one instrument and a voice is really strong, then you always have that and you can produce it any which way. So I would say, and I wish that I would have done that for myself, you know, it is what it is, and I still am learning now all the time. But I would say focus on the music first, because this stuff, that takes longer to be a master at. And with the music, if you're a good musician, then you can come in any room and not know anything about all this technology and be useful. You know?
Absolutely. And which kind of instrument you would learn for the first? If you could.
I mean, I wish I knew how to play guitar. For sure. Yeah, but because I think guitar is so dynamic. You know, you can be rhythmic and harmonic. And you can be hard and soft. You know.
I think that guitar. I don't know if you agree, but I think I'm a guitarist, and I think that guitar have this taste, you know, and it's very different.
There's so many sounds
yeah, exactly,
that you can make with
exactly. And it's so different between one guitarist to another. And I think that because you know the piano, you can wrote them and it's credible approximately. Obviously if you are very technical, it's more interesting and accurate, but I think that guitar have more dynamics, I think. So I agree.
I would agree in general.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
That it's
But then there's
important.
certain guys that touch the keyboards and they make it
Yeah.
come to life like crazy.
Absolutely,
So
yeah,
inspiring.
I study piano, and I begin with guitars a lot of years ago, and I have this finger that doesn't move. So
Whoa.
yeah, because of a fight when I was younger, an idiot. So it's for me.
Oh, that's wild.
You know, but I've learned to play guitar too. It was not important, but it's something that you know, I'm not virtuose, okay?
Sure.
But it's something that is very, I don't know, I'm happy of my of what I learned since now, you know. I want to ask you absolutely your musical suggestion if you want, and I can share my Italian music with you if you want. And because I have this, you know, this note on my telephone, and in every part of the world I put some suggestion, you know, in Iceland and something. Not everyone, but it's okay. If you, this was the music that someone suggests me here. If you Stromae, I know Stromae, but it's okay. If you have some suggestion,
there's
or something that you did.
There's a new artist that I'm working with. This kid named Luke Wild.
Luke Wild.
He only has one song out right now, but he's got a lot of good stuff.
Beautiful name.
He's only got one song out right now, but I've been working on him with his whole like first project, and
Fantastic.
I think I'm really excited about him. There's a kid named Zach Villery, Steve Lacey. Have you heard him?
No.
He's
Steve Lacey, like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think who else I've been listening to that's new. It's like other than that stuff, I've been listening to a lot of old stuff recently.
Also. Okay.
Yeah, just like Beatles.
Yeah, I love
and just like classic stuff that I should know. As a
Yeah.
producer, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'll Google Rolling Stones top 100 albums and just be like, okay, I haven't heard this one, I need to hear this, you know? Like I feel like as a producer, and especially working with really as an engineer, working with so many different artists, you know, they always have suggestions like,
Yeah.
what if the guitar tone sounded like this? What if the drums sounded like this? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And I want to just have all those references stored
Yeah.
in
I
my
think
brain
that it's
so I
one
can
of
just
the
attack it.
sorry.
That's fine.
But it's something that really I love of working with people that have all these reference. You know, all the musicians that I met have all these. Oh, listen to this, you know, because everyone have his culture, and it's I think something that is very. It's something that I really love.
It's a challenge
Yeah,
that
exactly.
then, like, if you can achieve it, you know how to do that now.
Exactly.
And so it's like just another tool in your arsenal. And
Absolutely.
I
So
love
it's
that. Trying to have all of those fucking tricks up my sleeve.
How is the acoustic? You
It's okay.
don't give
Here.
a fuck about
Yeah,
that.
here it's not great. We've been working with, you know, we get the mixes as good as we can here, and we've
Yeah.
been working with this mixer named Jeff Ellis,
Okay.
who's really great.
Okay.
We send him stuff all the time, and he's got his room dialed in, and he kind of helps us finish.
So you do the production work, and then you will send
Yeah,
to
because it's like we haven't gotten the acoustics completely dialed in here. We got it, you know. Actually, when we got here, there was like a bed right here.
Ooh.
Oh, it's right there. We leaned it up against the wall, so we tried to. It's kind of a makeshift, you know, setup
sure.
where we can create and kind of get things to a certain point, but it's definitely not the most ideal for like final mixing.
Yeah, no, yeah, okay, but I know you know I think that the place is very important when you work.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
I think in general the overall vibe
Yeah.
of the space is more important than the actual technical.
Yeah, absolutely,
stuff.
absolutely.
Because like some people are kind of intimidated by a big studio, or they feel like, okay, I'm here, I need to make music, like I must do something, you know. Whereas like if you set up a environment where they just feel like they can be themselves and be comfortable, kind of just comes a little more.
There is an Italian artist that I really love. His name is Brunori. That took a church, an old church, and he did a home studio in this church with
That's
his
awesome.
mate. You know,
Love
he's old man actually. It's 50 years old, I think, something like that. So he did this work, and the album that came out is very beautiful, and the sound is so unique, and he just work with this. I could send to you the link, because there is a documentary in Italian actually. You can see the work is very beautiful, and I think that this kind of stuff really change your work. To have a place where you can,
especially a place like that, which probably has a crazy sound.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did it sound like big and
they close apart with some room for the drums. Gotcha. Because it's impossible to just set a snare in a church. Sure. But they record something with that verb that is very characteristic and very beautiful. So maybe something that is just sampled in that kind of, but the main drums is in a little room inside in the church. Was a very beautiful work, and it's an artist that is not it's kind of independent work. It's not with a lot of budget or something like that. So it's very, I think that is something that is quite similar to what you do here, but in a church, not in Hollywood. Okay, but it's very beautiful, I think. So I will send to you.
Yeah, dude, I need a playlist. I need a whole.
I need
a playlist of the hottest. Actually, not just the hottest shit right now, but I need the classics.